Welcome to Deep Dark Depths, where shadows come alive. Tonight, we present 3 true horror stories that will haunt your dreams. Our first tale takes us to a fragile plywood house where a teenage girl decided to sleep alone, away from safety. She preferred the solitude of this wooden shack over the main house, ignoring the obvious dangers of such thin, weak walls. Noticing a disturbing hole in the wall leading outside, she simply covered it with a poster, thinking it was enough protection. The door lock was broken, so she improvised by tying a shoelace around the handle, believing this would keep intruders out. She drifted into sleep, unaware that the plywood walls were the only thing separating her from the monsters in the dark. At 5 in the morning, the silence was broken. The world was still dark, but something wicked was approaching her door. She woke up to a subtle sound. The door handle jiggled softly, testing the strength of the shoelace she had tied. Paralyzed by fear, she lay completely still, praying that it was just the wind or a stray animal bumping the door. But then, a shadow blocked the moonlight from the window. Someone was definitely pacing right outside the thin plywood walls. The shoelace could not hold. With a snap, the makeshift lock failed and the door creaked open, revealing a dark figure. He stepped inside with silent footsteps. He did not steal anything. Instead, he moved directly toward the bed where she lay. She kept her eyes closed, feigning sleep, hoping he would leave. But she could feel his heavy breathing on her face. He did not speak a word. Slowly, he reached for the spare pillow, his intentions becoming clear and terrifyingly violent. Without warning, he pressed the pillow down with all his weight. Panic exploded as she fought desperately for a single breath. Adrenaline surged through her veins. She clawed at his arms, digging her nails into his skin, fighting for her life. With one final burst of energy, she kicked him hard in the stomach, forcing him to stumble back into the darkness. She screamed louder than she ever had before. The lights in the main house flickered on, signaling that help was coming. The intruder realized his time was up. He turned and fled into the night, leaving her trembling but alive in the shack. Her parents found her shaking uncontrollably. The police arrived shortly after, but the man in the shadows was never found. The plywood house stands empty now, a reminder that thin walls and shoelaces are no match for true evil. Our next story explores the digital horrors hidden in plain sight. A simple selfie can sometimes reveal what eyes cannot see. A young woman was staying alone at her friend's house. She decided to take a cute selfie to send to her boyfriend. She snapped the picture, feeling confident and safe. She put her phone away, unaware that she had captured something terrifying. Months passed before she looked at that photo again. She was bored, scrolling through memories, when she noticed something odd. Something in the background caught her eye. It was the kitchen area behind her, specifically the large stainless steel fridge. She pressed her finger on the screen to play the live photo, a feature that records seconds of video before the shot. As the image moved, her blood ran cold. The fridge door behind her slowly opened, pulled by a pale, mysterious hand. She zoomed in, trembling. The hand was dirty and large. She had been completely alone downstairs when that photo was taken. The realization hit her like a truck. An intruder had been hiding inside the fridge, watching her pose just feet away. He had been right there, waiting in the cold darkness. He could have grabbed her, but he chose to stay hidden. She dropped the phone, sick to her stomach. She had survived that night by sheer luck, unaware of the danger nearby. Our final story takes us to the isolated lakes of England, where a night fisherman encountered a group of twisted individuals. He was enjoying the peace of night fishing, surrounded by nature. But isolation can quickly turn from peaceful to dangerous. Headlights cut through the darkness. A car approached slowly and parked uncomfortably close to his secluded fishing spot. 4 men stepped out into the night. They wore rubber horse masks, their expressions fixed in a permanent, grotesque grin. A primal instinct warned him of danger. They walked toward him in silence, their movements synchronized and unnervingly calm. One of them held out a phone. He didn't speak, but his gesture demanded that the fisherman watch the video playing. The video was a nightmare. It showed them using heavy fishing tackle, not for fish, but to catch and hook human beings. He looked up into the dead eyes of the horse masks. They weren't just showing him a video. They were hunting. They drew weapons from their coats' knives and rusted hooks. They began to circle him, blocking his path to escape. He had no choice but to fight. He gripped his heavy-duty carbon rod, ready to use it as a whip. As the first one lunged, he whipped the rod with all his might. The lead weight cracked against the mask instantly. He swung wildly, the rod whistling through the air. The attackers hesitated, surprised by his ferocity, giving him an opening. He abandoned his gear and ran for his life. He escaped that night, but the image of those horse masks remains. Thank you for watching Deep Dark Depths. Stay safe, trust your instincts, and subscribe if you dare to watch more horror. Remember, the most terrifying monsters are not always supernatural. Sometimes they are just people waiting in the dark for you. Check your locks, check your closets, and maybe check your photos. You never know who might be watching you right now. Some hobbies are peaceful, others are deadly. Be careful where you wander alone at night, for you are never truly alone. Fear is a universal language. It connects us all in the dark. We hope these stories serve as a warning. Keep your eyes open. The world is full of hidden dangers that reveal themselves only when it is too late. If you have a scary story to tell, share it in the comments. We might just feature it in the next video. Darkness is not empty. It is full of things that do not want to be seen. Sleep well if you can. The wilderness hides many secrets. What we see is only a fraction of the horror that exists in the deep woods. Technology records what our eyes miss. Always pay attention to the details in your digital life. They might save you. Every object left behind tells a story of panic and escape. Let us hope you never have to leave anything behind. Security is often an illusion. A thin pane of glass is all that protects you from the chaos of the outside world. Do not walk towards the darkness. Turn back while you still can, for some paths lead only to despair and terror. They watch from the street, waiting for the lights to go out. Your safety depends on your vigilance and your locks. Double-check your doors tonight. It is a simple act that could mean the difference between life and a gruesome death. What lies beneath the surface is often more terrifying than what walks on land. The depths hold secrets we cannot fathom. A missed call might be a missed warning, or it might be the last sound you hear before the silence returns. Even in your own home, you are being watched. The walls have ears, and the shadows have eyes that follow you. Basements are places of storage, but sometimes they store things that are alive. Never go down there without a bright light. Inanimate objects can hold residual energy. That doll in the corner might just be waiting for you to look away. Did you hear that creak? It wasn't the house settling. It was the sound of weight shifting on the floorboards nearby. Cold winds carry whispers of the past. Listen closely, and you might hear the screams of those who wandered too far. Travel safely, and trust no one on the lonely roads. A helping hand is not always extended with good intentions. Stories are how we remember the dead. By telling them, we keep their memory alive, and perhaps keep the evil at bay. Time is running out. Every second brings you closer to the end of this video and back to your own reality. Look at your reflection in the dark screen. Is that really you? Or is something else looking back from the other side? When the light fades, the real world disappears. We enter the realm of the deep, dark depths, where nightmares rule supreme. Signs of distress are everywhere. We just choose to ignore them until it is our turn to beg for help. Sirens are the soundtrack of the city. They signify that somewhere, someone's luck has just run out in a terrible way. This is Deep Dark Depths, signing off. Remember, lock your doors, check the back seat, and never, ever look behind you.